we must give Brian Ortega his due. What a performance. Brian Ortega 2.0. Holy smokes. Completely different fighter. 22 months after his last fight, his loss to Max Holloway, by far the worst loss of his career, the only official loss at the time of his career. And here he is coming out there and beating Zombie at his own game, a much improved striker with a new team in his corner, everything changed. And, oh, by the way, new hair. I mean, it was just a completely different guy. I was blown away, and I feel now I'll take back what I said last week, DC. Last week I said, yeah, even if he wins, you don't get a title shot after just coming off a title fight and then win one fight back. No, I think he deserves the title because he's a completely different fighter and he rearranged everything. He has evolved into a new man. I was blown away by what Brian Ortega did. What about you?
The one thing about Brian Ortega that has not changed is he still is mean. Boy, he is an angry, angry human being. He thinks that everybody hates him, and it fuels him. And that's okay because that works for certain guys. But he pitched a shutout in a fight where he had to stand the whole time, which is exactly what we thought he couldn't do, right? We thought that if he was to win this fight, he would need the fight to be on the ground. But instead, it was 25 minutes of stand-up, and he just dominated. And I never saw it coming. And, you know, when Dana said the winner gets a title shot, I was kind of thinking, oh, well, they must think that the Korean Zombie's going to win the fight and he's going to get a title shot because Brian Ortega just lost a championship fight. But
who's there? Who's in your room right now? What's happening?
Somebody just knocked on the door. They just knocked on the door and said room service. I haven't ordered room service. I promise I will never eat on this show. You guys don't need to see that. But Brian Ortega promised a new version of himself. And, man, he absolutely delivered. He over-delivered on his promise because his striking looked sharp. He looked so calm and collected. He never rushed. He was faking takedowns and coming up to strikes. He told us in the fighter meeting how much he hated wrestling, right? He hated wrestling offensively because he knew that if he got taken down, he was okay off of his back. But by adding in the wrestling, it added a completely different approach to his fight. He started slapping at the Zombie's legs, and Zombie had to respect it because he grabbed his legs a couple times. You're right. He should be fighting for a title, and he presents a lot of unique problems for the champion, Alexander Volkanovski.
And we'll get to that in a second. But, you know, historically in the fight game, when you're off for almost 2 years, when you're coming off the worst loss of your career up until that point, when you change your whole team, the team that brought you to that title fight, and you change everyone. Henry Gracie was the lone, guy who stayed with him, but he wasn't even in his corner. Yeah, he wasn't even there. He was back home because he tested positive for COVID. You shave your hair, and I respect the decision to donate the hair, but, you know, did he shave it? Did he do it to help him make the weight? And now as a result, who knows? The bottom line is good. All those things combined, though, DC, I was like, oh, man, this is not good. Plus, Zombie has been looking so good as of late, right? Historically, Ortega doesn't win that fight, right? The guy in Ortega's shoes or in his gloves doesn't win that fight. And that's why I was just blown away. And you nailed it. The patience, right? The way he was striking, the jab. We haven't seen that from Brian Ortega. This is a jiu-jitsu guy striking like that. Woo. Well, I was impressed.
Well, it's all those things that you just listed are scary, right? Because you go, wow, this guy lost. Now he's panicking, right? He's blowing up the whole thing. The whole ship has now sunk because where are his coaches? All these people that put all this time and effort into him. Why does one loss change the entire approach? Generally, guys lose like that. The warning signs are getting rid of your team, changing weight classes when things starts to go bad. All those different things usually means that you're in for a rough outing. But Brian Ortega showed that he made the right decision because, man, he put on a performance that I never could have expected from that jab, right? That's one of the things they always say. When you fight in Southpaw conventional, it's very difficult to throw the jab. Brian Ortega had no problem landing his jab. He controlled the foot placement, and as he controlled the placement, boom, he was popping the jab. He landed that beautiful spinning elbow. I told Dan Hardy and John Gooden, I said, for the Korean Zombie to defend these types of attacks from Yair Rodriguez for 24 minutes and 55 seconds before he got the up elbow, that's to be expected, right? Because you know when you fight Yair Rodriguez, he's going to be doing all that spinning stuff. He did not one time during camp try to prepare for a spinning attack from Brian Ortega because it was something that we had never seen before. But now Brian Ortega has all those things in his arsenal too, which again just makes him even more dangerous. Because if he's so good in the stand-up, and you know that if you go to the ground, you're always in danger, how do you approach a fight with Brian Ortega now? It's like it's a complete mind, it's a mind game now as to how you approach a fight against that guy when he's so dangerous everywhere.
Our good friends over at ESPN MMA, the Instagram account, posted a video of him and Tiki, his manager slash, I guess training partner, Tiki Ghosten, former UFC fighter, in the back, and they were practicing that elbow, and then he nails the exact same one in the fight. So they were working on that. They saw it coming. I'm just curious, as someone who hung on, to the island for so long, how do you feel about a guy with locks like that shaving him? What do you think? Do you like the new?
Oh, he's going back, right?
Going back.
I don't know how long his hair is, right? I've never really.
It's pretty long.
I once tried to shave my head to make weight at a wrestling tournament in high school, and it weighed like an ounce, and I had an afro, and I was like, well, it won't weigh much. But Brian Ortega, if he has long hair, someone said it's down to his butt, like it might actually weigh something, and if he had to take off a little bit of weight, but he said he was very emotional. He had thought about doing it for a long time, and he said in that moment, he said, "I'm cutting it right now. Bring me the clippers." And you know what? If that's what he says, that's what we have to accept as fact, because ultimately it worked out for him. Because if he had such a terrible weight cut, how did he perform at that level over 25 minutes at that pace?
He looked good. He was feeling good. He pitched a shutout, as you said, 5-0. He reminded everyone that he's the man and all that stuff. And he was feeling so good. This was my favorite part. He was feeling so good that he thought he could just nail the one answer walk off. Yeah. But DC said, boy, you better come back here. I got
Get over here. You remember Scorpion on Mortal Kombat? Get over here.
You grabbed that arm so
I had direct instructions to get the interview. And hey,
yes.
That was
a good interview. Such a great journalist.
But I'm going to say this. That was a good interview. But I can't say that all night I had the best in Octagon interviews. I had a ton of translators. It's difficult. When you got translators, it's hard, man. So getting an American guy in there, a guy that speaks English, I don't have to put the mic to a third guy. I was like, let me get this moment with you, Brian. Come back, And honestly, by him staying, he gave 2 more great answers, right? So that would have been great, right? The walk-off would have been cool. But if he got to get off 2 more good answers that got used for clips over and over, it was fantastic.
I mean, you did him a great service. I was hoping ESPN MMA would put together a highlight reel of all your post-fight interviews.
That was a few. There was a few on Saturday.
Hey, Saeed, let's go, Saeed. Interview time. Focus.
Saeed, come on, Saeed. What are you doing? Saeed's excited, right? Saeed, it's interview time. You're shaking everybody's hand. Dude's got 4 corners. Saeed, we don't have all day. He got to get over here and do the interview. Jonathan Martinez. I knew this was going to happen, but hey, the shots you don't take, you can't make it, right? Like I'm out here, I'm shooting like KB. I mean, I'm trying, man, but I've had 2 moments in the Octagon where I've had to do that to try to, and it was that one, and also Colby Covington when he beat Damian Maia in Brazil. That was one where I felt like I was just like his manager almost, because it was so loud and just raucous. But that was a good one. Brian Ortega one was it was good to get him and get those extra answers out of him.
There was another one too where you told the guy, let's go, or something like that. You were just on fire. Unfortunately, you did have one mishap where you walked right into the camera. It was just like, what? Every fight, I was looking. You walked in 3 times. I saw that clip once. 3 times on Saturday?
That happened 3 times on Saturday. So the camera guy, I was turning off to my right, and bumping the camera like multiple times. First time, not a big deal. Second time, not a big deal. Third time, it hit me in the face, right? So then I go, stop standing so close to me. Like they took the view off of me, but I was like cussing in there, like, yo, you gotta stop standing so close to me. It was the 3rd time you hit me with the camera. And then I go out of the Octagon, but then come to find out, guess whose fault it was? It was my fault. I'm supposed to go behind the fighter once we're done. I'm not supposed to just turn and go back out of the Octagon. I mean, hey, the closest way to get from point A to point B is in a straight line. So I don't know why I got to loop a circle. But yes, I got to loop the circle to go around and get out of the Octagon. But yeah, 3 times I ran into the cameraman. So good guy too. The guy that was doing it, he's a great guy. Like I've known him for a long time. He worked for the UFC for the longest time. And that was probably the most contentious interaction we've ever had. Like I was like, hey, stop standing so close to me with the camera. He's like, well, I'm trying to get as close to the fighter as I can. I was like, is there no Zoom? Like, is there no Zoom? Like, there's, like it was enough. Enough was enough. It's fun though.
People loved it. Everyone was sending me that clip. I didn't know it happened 3 times. I just saw it once, but it was tremendous. Back to Brian Ortega, Alexander Volkanovski, the featherweight champ. He's very happy because he says, all right, now I got direction. Now I have a fresh opponent, right? It's not Max Holloway.
Can I ask you a question though? Can I ask you one question about this?
Sure.
Right. Isn't it amazing how Brian has fought so well to put himself back in this position, right? One fight. But like, what happened to Zabit? Like, what in the world is going on with Zabit Magomed Sharipov? What happened to Zabit? Like, what happened? Like, all of a sudden, Zabit just isn't like in the running for a title shot anymore. I don't understand what happened.
Well, he was supposed to fight Yair in late August. Yair got the high ankle sprain, and then I think he was campaigning for a title shot, and they wanted to try to get him someone else. They couldn't find. He said, I think Calvin Kattar was campaigning. Didn't make sense. He has a win over Calvin Kattar. But unfortunately, he hasn't fought since, off the top of my head, November of last year when he fought in Russia.
So inactivity is what.
I agree with you. I wouldn't be upset if Zabit got it, but I think Ortega doing that to Zombie in the main event. This is the same thing. By the way, I was not to get on this train, but I was just telling that to Leon Edwards' manager last week. I was like, just take anyone at this point. Just fight. Yeah. This sport is like, you fight, even if the opponent isn't a top 10 guy, everyone goes gaga over you. They forget about the past, few months. And now all of a sudden you're back. It doesn't even matter who you fight anymore. It's just a matter of winning, getting on the microphone, getting people crazy. And now you're the man again. So that's what happened with Ortega. And that's why we're not talking about Zabit.
I was looking at the rankings all last week as I was preparing. And I kept seeing like Ortega 2, Holloway 1, Ortega 2. Zombie was 4, but there was Zabit, and like we never mentioned him the entire week. I was like, well, what happened to Zabit? Like, is he hurt? Is there a reason why he's not one of those guys that we're even talking about for a championship fight? And now, after what Brian Ortega did last week, he's the number 1 guy, clearly. So it's it's what have you done for me lately type of sport, and Zabit's been away. But yeah, that really did make me go, I mean, this guy's undefeated, and he's won all of his fights. Like, why is he not in contention for the title?
I think he's one away. But I do want to ask you about Volkanovski very quickly. I know you don't make predictions, but that matchup, who do you face? Don't make a prediction. I don't want to put you in the doghouse. I don't want you to get any heat with anyone. But who's got the edge going into that? Ortega 2.0 or Volkanovski, in your opinion?
I mean, the new Ortega is a handful, right? Because Alexander Volkanovski wants to take you down when he can and control and dictate the pace and pressure. I don't know, man. I mean, for him to beat Holloway in the way that he's done twice or once, however you want to call it, or 0, the fights have been so close. But even if him and Max were just that close, that's way closer than anybody has been with Holloway for a really long time. So you got to give the champ some credit, man. I feel like I haven't done him justice because he's been fighting Max for so long, and Max is such a close friend of mine. And I speak to his skills, but I have not been able to put him over to the level that he should be, because the guy is an absolute hammer and a stud. And I think we have to respect him as such, because if you got to be honest, Brian Ortega 2.0 was what it was going to have to be in order to even compete with Max Holloway, because you saw that the first version of Brian Ortega wasn't even on the same level. Yeah. So he needed to level up to compete with Max Holloway. So him leveling up essentially puts him on the same playing field as Alexander Volkanovski, who holds, those wins over Max.